to him by one man. And those who went to his office, over half of them were given to him by two men. So of all the parcels that ended up with him, over half of them went through three men's hands in the end. Now those are the guys you need to know. Those are the ones who know everybody. And how did that happen? At random, from all these 160 parcels, they finally found their way through the hands of these three particular guys. And whatever business you're in, whatever town you're in, whatever city you're in, whatever industry you're in, you need to know the people who know everybody, who can actually help you connect with the people who are important. And then how do we make sense of all this information? Now this is the word cloud that we did at the start of Len Brown's mural campaign. And before I I should actually also say that I wrote the original marketing strategy for ACT. I've done 2 national party campaigns, including the Dancing Cossacks way back in the 70s, and even Bob Jones' New Zealand Party. So I mean, I'm a political tart. Now, you pay me enough, I'll make you famous. But one of the things that we did right at the word go was get all these conversations online about the politicians. We did some focus groups. We got all these conversations, and there's a program called Wordle.net, and it's really useful. If you dump all the words you hear about any particular product, any particular business into Wordle, it comes out as a word cloud, with the most frequently used word being, or words being the biggest typeface. So, looking up here at the top with Len, well, he was the mayor of Monaco City, but wasn't well known. So the obvious thing for us was make Len famous. They knew he was honest, left-wing, genuine, caring, inclusive, soft, and approachable. So we thought, okay, that's simple. Put you on the telly, Len. And it was actually quite interesting because he was quite reluctant to go on television at first. He said, oh no, I'm doing lots of grey power meetings. There's 40, 50 people, they love what I'm saying. I said, but then you're talking to 40 or 50 people at a time. There's 1.5 million people in Auckland. It's going to take you 400 years, if you're going to keep on doing it on a daily or weekly basis. You've got to be on the telly. And so that was what we did basically, just put on the telly. And what are we going to talk about? Transport. Banks tried to make the issue crime. Vote for Len, you'll bring South Auckland crime to Remy Rao, shock horror, but in fact, transport was the issue. So it's really easy, just ask people what the problem is. So you go out to the universe, what are you talking about? What's your problem? And you'll get back an answer like that. That was the big glaring problem. So we said, Len, go on telly and bat down this path and keep on batting down the same line all the time. Because being a lawyer, he's naturally discursive. You ask him a short question, he can give you a very long answer. So we had to get him just to focus on what that key issue was. And so that's it, and that's really easy. And that's how you use all this information. You gather all the information you can from all the sources you can, and you filter it through something like Wordle, which tells you at a glance. Now it's just more painstaking. And one of the things that I lament in advertising is that it went to university, because when I started it was a bit Wild West, a lot of fun, but you just made shit up, and then we'd sort of backfill the strategy. Afterwards you sort of you did something, and I'll talk about it about tomorrow, but when it went to university, it became formulaic. You do a SWOT analysis, you do the analysis, you do the research, you put all the ideas and you turn the handle and that comes out. And while it may tell you what the direction is, it may tell you, which mediums to use, you've got to figure out what your story is, and you tailor a story for the right audience and the right channel. And I wouldn't for a minute think that I could actually write a Twitter campaign, because I loathe predictive text. And it's and all the kids, of course, can do this stuff really fast, but they don't know grammar. They don't put apostrophes in, and I insist on doing the old-fashioned way. So I'd be hopeless to try and do it. But we've got a whole lot of young geeks now in our place who do that stuff, and so that you just find the right people. And even our business we built around, because it's a fragmented market, we've got fragmented offerings. Because the traditional advertising agency is a command and control pyramid with television at the top and all the hard stuff, the shit that follows the point of sale, all the things that the ticketing and at the bottom. And so we've flipped the business on its head and put all the hard stuff at the top. But all it means, we're going to be more painstaking about deciding who our audience is. Understanding your target market, understanding your customers. What are they reading? Where are they at? Who they are. Dribbling down and getting a bullseye is the. But that's made easier now with the new technology. The old way, the old traditional advertising method, of course, was like carpet bombing during the Second World War. You had to kill everyone to get the ones you wanted. But now with cruise missiles, you can target the people in a drone. You can figure out where they are and take them out one by one. And it's not necessarily cheaper, and it's a lot more painstaking to figure it out. But you've still got to just understand what your audience is and tell them a story and the way in which they're receptive to that story. And then figure out which of the social networks you want to be on, because you've got to be quick. Facebook's going up, MySpace is going down, Bieber, too late, it's already gone. So, I mean, who knows? And I suspect Facebook won't last. I find Facebook very complicated. My kids built a Facebook page for me at home, and then we've got 8 different operating divisions, and 2 of our operating companies built Facebook pages for me because they insisted I'd be on them. And I can't remember passwords. I've got 19 different bloody passwords for 19 other companies. And every time you sort of try and log on to them, I can never remember which ones they're on. So I'm going to try and close them all down and just get people to write me a letter from now on. But really, the effectiveness is still the same. It's still about storytelling. It's still about making sure that you've got, and I don't know if anyone here has read a book called 7 Basic Plots by Christopher Booker. I remember our English master at school who used to say there were only 5 basic stories in the world, and everything's a variation of one of those. And you can probably argue there's anything from 1 to 100, and have a lengthy dinner party discussion about it. But Christopher Booker wrote this book about 4 or 5 years ago called 7 Basic Plots. And I believe, as he does, that if whatever story you're telling, and it could be anything from selling grocery items to a new idea for a school fete or your business in total, if your story complies with one of these particular themes, then you've got a much better chance of resonating. Because I believe that from the word go from age 1 or 2, whenever we're told stories by our parents, they have a much better chance of resonating with us and touching our hearts, and it's our hearts that make decisions, not our heads, although we'd like to think differently. It's because they comply with one of these particular basic storylines. And those storylines are the quest, a quest, anything with Harrison Ford in it, Road to the Lost Ark, or Overcoming the Monster. Jaws, classic example of overcoming the monster. Sleepy little village, along comes a monster, gobbles up a few villages, reluctant hero emerges, slays the monster, everything goes back to normal. Now that is a remake of Beowulf, which was written 1500 years ago. Well, except in Beowulf there were 2 monsters, but I mean, all those stories, they rags to riches. We love rags to riches stories. Cinderella's a rags to riches story. Rebirth. Or rags to riches. That's why we love Susan Boyle, who Britain's Got Talent. That funny lady who sang beautifully. That's Ugly Duckling. That's a rebirth story. And we love it also. We love the reverse of those things. We love riches to rags. When some bastard goes down for stealing $1 zillion off, because it touches us really deep in our primal beings. And even, I don't care what it is, if you can think of the right story to tell, even if it's just meal solutions, that's Overcoming the Monster. At 4:45 every evening, 87% of the population's got no idea what they can eat that night. So, oh God, it's a problem. Solve that for them, and you overcome the monster. And it's those kind of things that you do, or make it a quest. Make it good fun to come and find you. And like I did with McMaster and daughters out of Jury. We're going to make an expedition out there and see what else they got one day. Because you make it. It's a nice story, and it's those stories because we are. I can't remember who wrote it. Someone clever said that we are storied beings living storied lives. We all have a story. We all want to live into some kind of. We all have to have a beginning and a middle and an end. Hope it'll all end happily. And we build our lives around the stories either through ourselves or tell our kids, and we either do it through our businesses or our sporting achievements or our musical accomplishments, whatever it is. We all have a way of actually looking at the things that we want to do and a story that we want to live into. And the same applies when you're actually selling something. Make it fun. I was saying before that we've got I had a vineyard on Waiheke for a few years, and our I'll talk about it tomorrow too, but our label is Lonely Cow. And Lonely Cow was a misinterpretation of the words lonely cow. We're describing the property to someone, and as I leave to the vineyard, it's a lonely cow. I said, what, a lonely cow? I thought, fuck, that's a good name. So we actually, so we call it Lonely Cow. And about 5 or 6 years ago, an American distributor came out and said, I like your label. And the label, I'll show you tomorrow, but it's got and I drew the label on the spot. That's the name, Lonely Cow, and like an old butterbox roundel, and a little drawing of a cow and a knee-cow palm, so it's a little visual pun. And he came and saw us and said, I like your label. We were making Merlot on Waiheke, and he said, don't like Merlot. So that movie Sideways killed the sale of Merlot. He said, but if you get Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir, we'll do what we can, but I like your label. He said, because my main competitor, California, is selling Yellowtail and selling truckloads of this stuff. He said, seems we like critter wines in America. If you've got a critter on the label, you're laughing. So we put a critter on the label. Last year, he ordered 22,000 cases. Terrific. So, I mean, and that's a nut story. In fact, I went online, they've got a great website, and they've built themselves, and they've tortured the story a little bit, and down there in Australia, down there in New Zealand, they talk with these funny Australian accents, and there's a guy on YouTube extolling the virtues and retelling this lonely car story. Well, I've never heard of him, and even the people that Lipton's, who the importers, don't even know who he is, telling a story that it just grows, because it's all about story. In fact, I belong to a group who has regular lunches, and there's 10 of us, we each have to take along a bottle of wine. And whatever it is, it has to be outside the normal repertoire of a normal intake, and has a story to it. Because after 10 of us have got 10 bottles, it doesn't matter the story, it's all pissed as rats, but it's just good fun, and that makes it. It's not the one you can't even, it could be good, better, and different when you've got 10 bottles, but it's the story that actually makes the evening. Anyway, so it's still, whatever it is, with a social media or a full-page print ad or a television commercial, it's still got to be about the brand. And you've got to actually understand what are you just using the web, are you directing people to the web, or are you using the social network to drive the people there? Because if you do the brand advertising and drive them to the website, and a lot more people are using the web or using these things to find their way around these days. 79% of people are using these in-store now to check prices. And it's been a revolution that's happened in the last 18 months. I've been all right with it. Get there. So, and of course, it's also transaction-based too. I'd hate to be a bank now, because these things, in not many years, will be transactional. Why would you need a bank? You can borrow money from a mortgage broker somewhere else, and so on. And our kids will be buying stuff online. My little grandson, he's 5 and 3.